welcome.
Like, this is called the Pesky Report.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Pesky Report, brought to you by Beyond the Monster. I'm your host today, Matthew. I'm running a solo show. This is kind of interesting. We had two solo shows recapping the last two series. Jordan recapped the 4-game series against the Tigers, and now I am here recapping the 3-game series versus the Yankees. And it's going to be a solo pod tonight, so it'll probably be a shorter episode, as you know by clicking on this. That you already know the length, so surprise. But yeah, let's dive into it. But before we do, um, take a second if you can. Give us a follow on Instagram, on Twitter, if you're not following us on one of those platforms already, at the Pesky Report. We've also been uploading videos of all of our episodes on YouTube at the Pesky Report as well. We really appreciate it if you could give us a follow on there. If you're someone who prefers to watch video content of everything that's being put out and released, we are putting those videos out, and we just want to make sure people know that's available. So wherever you're more comfortable listening, we are available on pretty much every platform and in any way. But yeah, been putting in a lot of work collaborating with the guys over at We Talk Sox and Home of the Sox on Instagram, trying to grow our minor league video content over there, courtesy of Hunter Knoll, and really putting in some awesome work from Jason and Nate Talks Sox as well. They've been killing it with the graphic design, and definitely appreciate any support you can give us over there. But without any further ado, let's dive into the series recap of this 3-game set against the Yankees. So, as you guys probably know by now, if you're tuning in, the Red Sox just got swept by their rivals, the New York Yankees. Certainly, you know, not the result that we were looking for. It's one of those things that until you actually experience it, you don't realize how bad it can get. But this team is getting to the point where, man, it's a tough watch. Like it is brutal. And I think we're going to get into a little bit of that today. I'm going to talk through some of the statistical side of things to kind of explain what we're seeing as well. But at the end of the day, like, the team isn't scoring runs, and you can't win games if you're not scoring runs. They scored just 3 total runs this entire series against your rivals at home. That's crazy, and definitely not a winning recipe. So, yeah, let's kind of dive right into it. I think one of the topics that probably is more prevalent is that Roman Anthony sat out the last 2 games with back soreness. He came out today and said that he should be back soon, but he did sit the last 2 games. I'm going to pull up some reporting here from Christopher Smith from Mass Live. He had posted the quote from Roman about his back here. He said it's just a weird thing that happened on a swing because he had played in the first game of the series. He said it's in his upper back, the upper like left scalp area into the back of his neck. He said he'll be able to play in the next couple of days. So obviously not ideal when your prime, person that we're supposed to be, I guess, relying on this season to carry the team hasn't really been doing super great. He had started to heat up during the Twins series. In the last week, he actually was batting over 300, was starting to put some good swings on the ball, and now he's out with back soreness. I made a joke on Twitter and said, if anyone should have back soreness, it should be Wilson Contreras for being the only person to consistently carry this offense every single night. But realistically, hopefully Roman gets back soon. It's not a good look when when we can't have your best lineup out there on a day in day basis, and we're struggling to score runs as it is. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like the overarching, hitting storyline, that anything that like changed throughout the series. It was really just Roman Anthony. We did have two major league call ups during the series, which we'll get to as we talk about each game. But those were some awesome moments. And we'll talk about that here as well. Actually, no, it was only one major league call up, but we did have two call ups in the series. Just only one was a major league debut. So game one was Luis Heel versus Connolly Early. And obviously, Luis Heel had come into the game with a 7 ERA. He left the game with a 4.11 ERA, did not allow a run. The Yankees actually, it was Juan Carlos Stanton actually put up the very first home run against Connolly Early in his entire career in the second inning, I believe it was. So that was I mean, I didn't think that he was gonna go forever without giving up a home run, but definitely if you're gonna give up one, to give up a Stantonian blast. Stanton was actually on fire in this game, not gonna lie. Not only did he have the home run, he also had a double, and he nearly had another one as well. He had 3 RBIs in the game, only struck out once. He's having an okay year, 253 batting average, 724 OPS. He's batting in the Yankees loaded lineup. He's batting fourth, so he's batting ahead of Bellinger in this game. But yeah, early looked really really solid. Kind of came apart in the last inning, and I know that that's obviously where he's struggled, is to finish 6 innings consistently. Last time out, he did really really well, but he still came really close to a quality start. He had 5.1 innings pitched, gave up 3 earned runs at the end of the day, 4 strikeouts, only the 1 home run allowed. His ERA is still under 3. It's 2.88 for the year. And it was really that 6th inning when he had kind of lost his control there. He had 3 walks on the night. Um, but yeah, I mean, he still looked really, really solid. I think Connolly Early is one of those bright spots right now that we have to look to. And then we had Jack Anderson come in, pitch 2 innings, 2 strikeouts. He gave up 1 additional run. And then Samaniego came in and did not allow a run, 3 strikeouts over 1 2/3 of an inning. So overall, the pitching gave the offense a chance to be in this game, and they just could not score a single run. The offense in that game, we had 4 total hits, so it's really hard to score when you only have 4 total hits. We had Marcelo had a double, the only extra base hit, and we left 7 runners in scoring position on the day. 0 for 7. 0 for 7. So not ideal. One interesting call that I did want to make in regards to the series is that the Red Sox did not string together back to back hits in the entire series. Just think about that. We played 3 games, 9 innings apiece. Not a single inning did the Red Sox have back to back hits. That's I'm sorry, that's just insane. That is insane. And the Yankees pitching, don't get me wrong, like Max Fried's been great. Cam Schlittler has been great. They've been really, really good. So like that part of it is not that surprising. Those guys didn't pitch the entire game. Those guys didn't pitch the entire game. We also had Luis Heel with a 7 ERA. He actually barely generated any whiffs at all. I believe that the stat was that Jack Anderson, who came in relief, pitched 2 innings, got 5 whiffs. That was more whiffs in those 2 innings than Luis Heel had in 6.1 innings against the Red Sox, which is it's just crazy. And we could not string together 2 straight hits the entire series. Just a lot of missed opportunities. So, um, that was game 1. I think, the only thing that's worth calling out is Jarren Duran was sat in game 1, and then he was back in the lineup once Anthony was out for game 2. I liked Wilson Contreras batting second in the first game. I thought that was actually really good alignment there. Um, Anthony Contreras, then it went Yoshida, then Abreu, then Story, Rafaela, then Meyer, Durbin, Narvaez. They've been putting Narvaez ninth, which is interesting. And when Wong is in, they've been having, well, I guess in the second game, they had Wong eighth and they had IKF in the 9 spot. Um, let's look at game 2. Game 2 was 4-1. Obviously, Max Fried was pitching. He's on a heater. He has a 2.4 ERA on the season. He's 3-1 now after this victory. We also had Ranger Suarez on the mound, right? And he's coming off of 2 back-to-back starts that were really, really good, including an 8-inning scoreless in the last appearance that he made against the Tigers. So obviously feeling pretty good about that. And then the Yankees immediately put up 3 runs on him in the very first inning, including Ahmed Rosario, who homered. And that was basically the game from there. Like, I hate to say it, but um, they went up 3-0, and it was like, man, now we don't even have a chance, which is crazy. This was also the game that they decided to really swap the lineup around, and Rafaela led off, and he went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in that game. Then it went Contreras, Abreu, Story. Then Monasterio was the DH, then Duran, then Durbin, Wong, and IKF. And, realistically looking through here, Jaron, 3 hits on the night and an RBI. He hit the only RBI of the game. With those 3 hits, it didn't bring his batting average up over 200 yet, but it is trending in the right direction there. It looked like he might have made some adjustments to his swing. His hands are a little bit higher. Shout out Justin MLB for calling that out. His stance looks different in this series than it even did a couple of days ago against the Tigers. So I don't know if he's making some tweaks or mechanical adjustments trying to find it, but he had 3 hits in this game. So that's definitely got to count for something, including 2 doubles. So, I mean, we'll take that. Um, we had in this game 6 men left on base, and we were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Just overall, only 5 hits, and 3 of those were Jaren's. Not a lot of offense. Again, couldn't string together back-to-back hits. To emphasize that point, Caleb Durbin was batting directly after Duran. He had 0 hits. He was 0 for 4 in this game with 1 strikeout. Connor Wong, after that, was 0 for 3 with a strikeout as well. And then IKF after that, also 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout. So we had Duran and nobody behind him in this game who could drive it anything. And Monasterio ahead of him was 0 for 3 with, nope, you couldn't guess it, 1 ball. Close. But that wasn't quite that wasn't a good offensive output. Ranger Suarez was pulled wicked early too, which was really interesting. There's got to be obviously a reason that happened. I think he got pulled when there was runners on second and third, but he did end up giving up 4 earned runs, only 4 strikeouts, and 2 walks on the game. But 3 of those runs came right in the first inning. So after the first inning, only gave up 1 additional run, and they pulled him at 72 pitches, which was a little bit surprising. Zach Kelly came in, struck out 2, um, got out of the 5th inning, and then he had to get pulled midway into the 6th inning. Eduardo Rivera came in. This was the kind of the cool story I wanted to touch on in this game. Making his major league debut, and this is kind of crazy. For those of you who don't know who Eduardo Rivera is, definitely take a listen to the minor league show because they talk about him on there. But he was actually in Double A Portland prior to this game. And so he was called up to Triple A And then the same day, that night, the same day he was called up to AAA, he was then also called up to the big leagues and then made his debut the following day. So what a crazy 24 hours for Eduardo, and just to come up and be able to make your major league debut is just awesome. But yeah, literally he got assigned to Worcester from the Sea Dogs, and then that night got the call, April 21st, and then April 22nd, he got called up, made his major league debut that night in relief, and then he was optioned back after the game, back down to Worcester to make room for Peyton Tolle, who ended up coming up and starting the game today, which was Thursday. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Eduardo. He had 3 strikeouts in there, including his first major league strikeout. He did 3.1 innings, only 1 hit, no runs allowed, sitting at a perfect ERA of 0 on the year. So congratulations on the great debut. Looking forward to seeing you actually make your first AAA start before you make your first, um, or sorry, looking forward to you making your first AAA start. Very interesting that you made your major league before your first AAA start. And I will always remember that. Very cool. Crazy 24 hours. Hopefully, we'll get to catch up with him at some point and talk about that. Oh yeah, and the other thing I was going to say about Eduardo Rivera, and I apologize if this whole time I've been saying Eduardo Rodriguez because I'm pretty sure I said Eduardo Rivera. That's his name. But if I said Rodriguez up to this point, I do apologize. I had Erod on the mind. That's another he's another lefty right there. But yeah, Eduardo Rivera is 6'7" and 237 pounds. He's only 22 years old. He's from Puerto Rico, and he did pitch for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic this year, which was pretty cool. He had the opportunity to pitch for them, and he was awesome for them in for Team Puerto Rico. Let me see if I can look it up here. Eduardo Rivera, Team Puerto Rico. Let's see what he did here. World Baseball Classic. I know he had 4 strikeouts against Team Italy in one of the games where he pitched 2 and a third innings of relief for them. Um, let's see. This is going to be an awkward silence for a second here, as I don't know where one would find the WBC statistics, but in Portland, he did have 2 appearances. He had a 0.90 ERA, 10 innings pitched. He had only 6 hits, 1 earned run, and he had 16 strikeouts in Portland so far in his 2 starts. So in 10 innings, 16 strikeouts. He was on fire. And he just carried that in from his experience. It's a crazy story. So like I said, he's only 22 right now. Back in 2021, he was with the Athletics for 2 seasons, and he wasn't even bad for them. I honestly have no idea what happened, but they they had him in their system, and then they lost him. They cut him. Um, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think it was like something like he went up and made 4 starts in high A, had like an 11 ERA, it looks like. This was back actually in 2024, so he got called up to high A. He had 10 walks, 8 strikeouts, so some struggle with command, an 11 ERA. They sent him back down to single A, where he actually, for the year, in 6 games, had a 1.99 ERA, only 7 walks and 30 strikeouts, which was kind of kind of crazy. He had 30 strikeouts and 22 innings in single A, and then they cut him. Um, and so then he got picked up by somebody else. Looks like that's when the Red Sox picked him up. They brought him in to Greenville, 2025, and he had a 1.61 ERA with them. He had 68 strikeouts in 44 innings with Greenville. That was across 10 games. So um, do the math on that over 30 game pace. That's almost 200 strikeout pace right there. And then he started the year 2025. That was Salem. He did get promoted up to Portland, where he continued to have a good season with them last year. 3.4 ERA in 10 games with Portland, 42 innings pitched, uh, 40 strikeouts. But that's where the control did spike back up. He had 30 walks in those 42 innings. So, kind of following this trend of like just needing to hone in on his control and making sure that everything was on point there, because that's been a concern in the past and it seemed to spike up and be a concern again. 30 walks, 42 innings is a lot of walks. But he started off this year looking much, much better in that regard. So kudos to him making his debut. I'm sure it's not the last that we'll see of him, being only 22 years old and looking good there. So yeah, that game, 4-1, another opportunity to take one from the Yankees. If it's a close game, just couldn't do it. Couldn't get it in. In fact, the Red Sox were getting shut out until the ninth inning. So, you know, can't really write home about that one. That would have been embarrassing if we had been shut out back to back days, but not great. I think that anytime that you roll out their lefty mashers lineup, it's just there's absolutely no reason that IKF should be playing against left-handed pitching over someone like Marcelo Meyer. Like, absolutely no reason. I've got a stat right here. Um, I believe, let's see who posted this one. I think it was Tyler Milliken. I'm going to take a look and see. Let's see. I can't find it right now. Um, but basically, it was showing a breakdown of IKF against left-handed pitching, and absolutely devastating. So, um, let's move on to game 4, game 3. Wow, can't speak. This is what happens when you're doing it all by yourself. There's no one to carry the conversation while you're looking something up. So I apologize if you're listening to this, but game 3, this was the Cam Schlittler takes on the Red Sox. Um, yeah, he had some crazy quotes before the series saying that he thought that, people were gonna be grabbing him, throwing stuff at him in the bullpen. Um, that didn't happen. It was, not at all that case. Obviously, they're gonna chirp him. He's a Yankees player, but he's a good pitcher. He's really good, and, he's from Boston, as they said on the broadcast 25 times. He's a Red Sox fan, so that makes it so cool, and, he's just he's crazy. He's just, a little bit of a dork, and, he thinks he's cool. He uses ChatGPT to write his stuff as well, which is very funny, and, he shoved it right up our butts. I did think it was funny that, they put up 2 runs on him, but it didn't really matter because he those were the only 2 runs that he gave up in 8 innings. We did limit the strikeouts, and he, I think, only had 1 walk the entire year leading up to this. He also had a walk in this game. So, um, that being said, The 2 runs that we put up on him, only one of those was earned. The second one came because of a throwing error, so it was really just 1 earned run, dropped his ERA down to 1.77 on the year. Carlos Narvaez, the only earned run given up, it was a home run off of him, so we definitely appreciate the captain for his contributions there, but he shut us down. And it's too bad because it was a phenomenal, oh my word, such a good start from Peyton Tolle. So the Red Sox were able to call up Peyton Tolle before the game to make this start. They optioned Rivera, like we just talked about, back to Worcester. Tolle came up to start. And originally it was supposed to be Brian Bayo making this start. And that was, probably a good idea to give him an extra set of rest. Tolle hadn't thrown in like 6 days or something down in Worcester, so he either needed to throw or he needed to get called up, and so they decided to make the move there, and thank goodness they did because man, that was electric. He came up, he struck out the first 5 batters in a row, first time that he's ever struck out the side in his major league career, did that in the first inning, was sitting 98 through 2 or 3 innings average, just, you know, slicing and dicing out there, which was pretty sick. It was, after the 5 in a row, then he got a ground out, and, it was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that he didn't strike out 6 in a row." I really thought we were about to see the record be broken for strikeouts. He looked that dominant, and, he did look great the entire time. I mean, he gave up a little dinky home run to Jazz Chisholm. It just looped around the pesky pole there, and that was the only earned run that he gave up, but he had 11 strikeouts against the Yankees, which was pretty impressive considering some of those names that are right-handed hitters in that lineup. Aaron Judge, Stanton, and then, he was even striking out Rice and all those guys. I mean, it was pretty cool. So, uh, side note on Jazz Chisholm, very funny that he at the beginning of the season said that he was going to go 70-70. He was going to be the first player ever to steal 70 bases and hit 70 home runs or something like that. Um, Yeah, this was his first home run of the year, and it's April 23rd. Might have been 60-60, but he made some ridiculous goal. It's just there's no way he's going to hit that goal at this point. But yeah, totally had an awesome debut. When he left, the Red Sox were in the lead 2-1, and the bullpen came in and unfortunately blew the game. Danny Colum came in, gave up 3 earned runs in .2 innings. Greg Weissert was attributed with a blown save because he was technically on the mound when it happened. But good old Greg, I believe there was inherited runners on when the pitching change happened. Let's see, it was the 7th inning. Let's see, because I know Cody Bellinger singled against Greg to make it. Okay, so that was when there was bases loaded, 2 outs. So I have a feeling that's where he came in. So I think Greg came in with the bases loaded. I'm trying to remember. And then and he gave up the inherited runners from Danny Colon. But yeah, just I don't know what Greg has against Tolle, but in Tolle's debut against the Pirates, he came in, gave up that lead, caused the loss. Tolle comes out, 6 innings, quality start, a gem, 11 strikeouts, and they blow this game, which is insane. But Tyler Samdiego came back in, was able to get them out of the next inning, the 8th, and the first batter of the 9th. Ryan Watson came in again with 2 strikeouts. Sam Diego still rocking a 0 ERA on the season, but congrats to Peyton Tolle. Really, that's the biggest shout out in this game for just firing me up. There was a one point that he um, had a single, a walk, then a single. The bases were loaded, and he got out of that with 0 runs allowed. So that was pretty awesome. He was hyped up. I think it was a strikeout to Stanton to end the inning there, and he was just absolutely fired up. And so he's obviously a great competitor, super fun to watch, friend of the program as well. If you haven't listened to that interview, go back and check it out. We had the pleasure of interviewing him back in I think it was December, I want to say. It was definitely not too long um, after the season had ended, but he took some time with us. Anyways, funny guy, great competitor, great pitcher, awesome to root for. So hope he gets to stay up and continue to pitch for us in some capacity. But yeah, Cam Schlitter came in, did what he needed to do, sliced and diced us. It was a really competitive game until it wasn't. And ultimately the offense, even though they were only down 2 runs, couldn't muster um, anything. So gets swept at the hands of their rivals. We got another AL East team, an AL East beast of the East coming in. We've got the Baltimore Orioles for 3 games coming up here Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're actually going to Baltimore for those games. And I guess nothing really scares me about this rotation. I mean, I'm personally not scared of like Trevor Rogers. So this is how it's going to line up. So as of right now, should be Brian Bayo versus Brandon Young on Friday. Then Saturday should be Trevor Rogers versus Garrett Crochet, and then Sunday should be Connolly Early versus Kyle Bradish. Now, Trevor Rogers is the one that probably, we're going up against Crochet. I'm not really worried about Crochet, to be honest with you. And Trevor Rogers actually has a 4 ERA on the season. I know that um, he's a lefty. That's probably the only thing I would say is our lefty mashing lineup is just not good right now. If they have Roman back, I feel a little bit better about it. He's rocked a 20% strikeout clip on the season, but a 4.08 ERA with a 3.70 FIP. So perhaps he's a little unlucky. But ultimately, I mean, you're going to look at him compared to Garrett Crochet and you say, well, Garrett Crochet, on the other hand, has a 7.88 ERA with a 4.98 FIP. So, he's incredibly unlucky and he's striking out people 25% of the time. So I'm just not worried about Crochet, to be honest with you. So that's game 2, though. I just kind of skipped ahead. If I'm going back to, let's see. Oops, I lost my matchups here. Where'd they go? Here we go. Yeah, so Brandon Young, who's supposed to be pitching on Friday versus Brian Bayo. He's a right-handed pitcher, 27 years old. He's only pitched in 1 game. He did go 5 innings, but he has not allowed a earned run yet. His FIP was a 3.5, only 11% strikeout rate. So not a lot of track record there. He'll be going up against Brian Bayo. Bayo has a 6.75 ERA on the season. He's made 4 starts. He's only pitched 18 innings, striking out 14%, a 14% strikeout rate, which is like very low considering the amount of whiffs he's been getting. And despite his ERA being a 6.75, his FIP is a 5.77. Still not great. Even if he is getting unlucky, he's not that unlucky. And then Sunday, it's Kyle Bradish, who is also right-handed. He is 3.96 ERA on the season, 24% strikeout rate through 5 starts, going up against Connolly Early. And Connolly Early, 2.88 ERA. We talked about that already. 22% strikeout rate through 5 starts. Looking just like a stud up there. So, the problem is the offense. The problem has been the offense. We're not at home anymore. Hopefully, as the weather gets warmer, the bats start heating up. Hopefully, we get Roman back so we can actually start heating up there. But I mean, I can't take more than 1 out of 3 of these games. I just can't. Even though our pitching is solid, it's a toss up for me between whether we win the Garrett Crochet game or the Connolly Early game. It's a straight up toss up because both of those pitching matchups are they shouldn't be hard, but they're going to be hard. And I just think, they need a win, but I feel like this could be the start of a losing streak. The vibes are off. Red Sox Stats had tweeted out that the vibes. So that he said that there were some people that had been talking about things within the Red Sox organization back before the Devers trade had started, and saying that there were some conversations about certain things that were happening. He was super vague about it, and he said that obviously that stopped when Devers was traded, and he said now those same people are back talking again. So some weird vibes going on with the Red Sox clubhouse or the front office or something. It's a little concerning for sure. I'm just rambling at this point, but I mean something's got to give. The offense is one of the bottom 3 offenses in all of baseball. So like I said, my prediction's 1 out of 3, but if I'm going to go and give you some stats, some context to that, here's why. OPS plus on the year. The Red Sox are the worst in the American League, bottom 4 in the entire MLB. It goes Cincinnati Reds at 77, Mets at 78, Philadelphia Phillies at 80, and the Red Sox at 85 OPS plus, which means we are 15% below league average when it comes to our OPS. When you look at our qualifying slugging percentage, that we are dead last in all of baseball with a .333 slugging percentage before tonight's game. That's worst in all of baseball. Those other teams I just mentioned are pretty much right above us, but Red Sox are dead last there. When you look at how many times we walk as a team, we're bottom 8 in all of baseball in walks. So we're not getting on base. We're not walking. We're not hitting with power. It's a mess. And you can't be a bottom 3 or 4 offense and a bottom in the American League offense. Doesn't matter how good your pitching is. You have to score. You can't go an entire series against your rivals. I said this earlier without stringing together 2 straight stinking hits. I don't know. That's just crazy. That's crazy. We're last in the American League in home runs. We're tied with the New York Giants for last in all of baseball. 14 home runs. The next closest is 17 home runs, the Miami Marlins. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's insane. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what the fix to this is at this point, but I don't know. You know what's crazy though? This is actually a random crazy fact. If you sort by hits, and this is where power comes in, right? When you sort by the amount of hits that we've gotten as a team, we're still bottom 4 in all of baseball. But you know who is second to worst in all of baseball? Is the Yankees as far as getting hits. They have 181 hits in the year. We actually have more hits than them, 184 hits. They're just doing more with their hits. They're also walking a crap ton more. They have 117 walks to our 83 walks. So they're getting on base. And they're hitting a freaking lot more home runs than we are. They have 35 home runs compared to our 14 home runs. So it's just when they are hitting, they are making runs happen. And the Red Sox cannot make runs happen right now. So here's to this upcoming series against Baltimore. Hopefully, we see some changes happen. Hopefully, we get Roman back in. Hopefully, we see the offense start to pick up a little bit, but not sure. Not sure how it's going to go. Um, the next time you'll hear from us will be after the Baltimore series. We'll have the weekend series recap video, and we have minor league show coming up on Monday. They do an awesome job with that. If you're someone who hasn't ever listened to it and you want to get into the minor leagues a little bit more and find out more in depth about every level, they've been going multiple hours on each episode, just breaking down each level of the minors in detail. You really don't have another show like that out there that does that much in depth coverage of the minor leagues. It's like even Sox prospects who are the GOATs, they don't take that much time on their podcast to go over each individual level at the specifics that they do on that show. So shout out to them. We had Braden Ward on this last week. He talked about his viral video where he got hit in the head, started a brawl. I'll put quotation marks around that because really he wasn't mad at the pitcher. And he explained that in his interview and talked a little bit about, what he's been going on or what he's been doing lately. And it was just an awesome interview that they were able to do at the beginning of the episode last Monday. So go ahead and take a listen to that if you are inclined to know about Braden Ward a little bit more in depth. But until next time, we appreciate you liking and subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, commenting on the video, commenting on the podcast streams. We do appreciate all that. We read it all. We thank you very much. Tell your friends about it. If you want to get more people involved in the family here, we would appreciate that. It's hard to gain fellow 162 followers, and we're always welcome to have more people part of this community. It's an awesome community, and we'd love to connect with you guys. So social medias are out there. Please reach out to us. We won't bite. I promise. But until we see you guys next time, on behalf of Beyond the Monster and the Pesky Report, have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.
Like, this is called the Pesky Report. Like.